I'd been driving for UPS for 2 years by the winter of 2010, hauling packages across small towns in North Carolina. It wasn't a bad gig, decent pay, steady hours, and I liked being on my own. But some nights like this one, the job felt heavier than the boxes I carried. It was a Thursday, my shift running from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., and the sun had already ditched me by 5. Out here, winter didn't mess around. Darkness fell fast, and the cold sank into your bones. I was used to it, or so I told myself. The roads I drove weren't exactly postcard material. Rows of beat-up trailer homes and little shacks spaced too far apart, with thick woods creeping up on one side like they were waiting to swallow everything whole. Tonight, I just wanted to finish up and get home. Maybe crack a beer and forget the chill. But the map on my dashboard had one last stop marked, and something about it made my gut twist. I turned onto a narrow stretch of dirt, the kind of road that didn't even deserve a name. Houses out here were scarce, just a handful of trailers and sagging porches, some with lights flickering like they were on their last breath, others dark and dead. The forest loomed on my right, a wall of black pines that seemed to lean in closer the further I drove. My headlights caught the glint of frost on the ground, and I cranked the heat a little higher, trying to shake the unease creeping up my spine. I'd done this route 100 times, delivered to worse places than this, but tonight felt off. Maybe it was the quiet, no dogs barking, no TVs blaring through thin walls, just me and the hum of the engine. I glanced at the package details. Big, heavy, signature required. Great. No dropping it and running. I'd have to knock, wait, deal with whoever was on the other side. I pulled up to the place, a single-wide trailer that looked like it hadn't seen a good day in decades. No car out front, no glow from the windows, just a hulking shadow against the trees. I killed the engine, grabbed the box from the back, and hefted it onto my shoulder. It was heavy, heavier than most, and I could hear something rattling inside. Metal, maybe, clinking together like loose change in a jar. My boots crunched on the frozen grass as I walked to the door, my breath puffing out in white clouds. I didn't like this. No doorbell, no light, no sign anyone was home. I knocked anyway, 3 hard raps. The sound swallowed by the night. Nothing. I shifted the box, knocked again, louder. My mind was already halfway to leaving. Maybe I could fudge the log, say no one answered. Then the curtain twitched, just a flicker, and my heart jolted. Someone was in there, watching me. The door creaked open after what felt like forever, a slow, agonizing scrape that set my teeth on edge. An older woman poked her head out, hair a tangled mess, eyes darting like she was expecting trouble. She didn't say hi, didn't smile, just stared at me for a second too long before muttering something about a package. I told her it needed a signature, holding out the scanner with one hand while the box dug into my shoulder. She nodded, jerky and quick, then swung the door wide and told me to bring it inside. My stomach dropped. I didn't want to go in there. But she was insistent, her voice sharp, and I figured it'd be faster to just do it and get out. I stepped over the threshold, and the smell hit me. Thick, sour, like something had died and been left to rot. I swallowed hard, trying not to breathe too deep, and followed her through the cramped living room. The trailer was a maze of tight spaces, walls stained yellow, furniture shoved against them like it hadn't been moved in years. She led me down a narrow hallway, the box scraping the sides as I tried to keep up. My arms ached, and that damn rattling inside the package was louder now, a constant clink, clink, clink that drilled into my skull. She stopped at a door, pushed it open, and pointed to a closet at the back of the room. "In there," she said, her voice low and clipped. I asked her to turn on the light, anything to cut through the pitch black ahead, but she just shook her head. "Don't work." The only light came from a lamp in the living room, a faint sliver spilling down the hall. I edged into the room, my eyes straining to adjust, and that's when I saw it, a shape in the corner of the closet. Tall, still, human. My chest tightened. Someone was standing there, watching me, and they weren't moving. I froze, the box still in my arms, my mind screaming at me to run. The shape didn't budge, no sound, no step forward, just a silent outline against the dark. I couldn't see a face, couldn't tell if they were even breathing, but I knew they were there. My heart slammed against my ribs, and the woman's voice cut through the haze, sharp, demanding, telling me to keep going, to put the box down. I didn't. I couldn't. I dropped it right there on the floor, the thud echoing in the tiny room, and turned for the door. She yelled after me, her voice rising into a shriek. "Come back here, you piece of shit!" But I was already moving, shoving past her, my boots pounding the floor. I didn't care what she wanted. Didn't care what was in that box or who was hiding in that closet. I just had to get out. I made it to the truck, yanked the door open, and peeled out of there, tires spitting gravel. My hands shook on the wheel, my breath coming in short, ragged gasps. I finished the shift somehow, drove home in a daze, but sleep didn't come that night. I kept seeing that shape in the closet, replaying the woman's scream, hearing that damn rattling like it was still in my ears. What was in that box? Who was waiting in the dark? My mind spun with possibilities. Thieves, killers, something worse, and none of them made sense, but all of them scared the hell out of me. I quit UPS not long after, traded the road for a desk job in the city, but even now, years later, I can't shake it. Every creak in my apartment, every shadow in the corner, takes me back to that trailer. I got out, sure, but part of me wonders if I really did, or if whatever was in that room is still out there, waiting for me to come back. I'd only been driving a rig for 3 months when it happened. Fresh out of a life I didn't want to talk about, I took this job because it promised freedom. Long stretches of asphalt, no one breathing down my neck, just me and the hum of the engine. That night, I was hauling cargo from southern New Jersey to Lafayette, Indiana, a 12-hour slog after an 8-hour run the day before. My eyes burned, my hands ached on the wheel, but I kept going. I had something to prove, to myself, to the world. Quitting wasn't an option. The highway stretched out like a black ribbon under the stars, empty as a ghost town. I liked it that way at first. The solitude felt like a shield. But the longer I drove, the heavier it got, pressing down on me like a weight I couldn't shake. I reached for a Red Bull in the center console, but my fingers brushed nothing but dust. I'd forgotten to restock after the last trip. A groan slipped out, and I slapped the dashboard hard, the sting waking me up for a split second. I hated stopping. Every time the truck went still, exhaustion hit me like a freight train. But I was fading fast, and the road wasn't forgiving. Halfway through Ohio, or at least I think it was Ohio, the signs all blurred together, I knew I couldn't keep pushing. My lids drooped and the lines on the road started dancing. I had 2 choices, crash and burn or pull over. I picked the lesser evil. The GPS showed a service stop ahead, and I veered off, dreaming of caffeine and a 5-minute breather. But when I rolled up, it wasn't some brightly lit gas station with a buzzing Coke machine. It was a relic, a crumbling shell of a convenience store, windows dark and cracked, a rusted pump leaning like it hadn't seen gas in decades. My stomach sank. This wasn't a stop. It was a graveyard. I parked the semi anyway, too tired to care. The air was thick still, like the night was holding its breath. I climbed out, boots hitting the ground with a dull thud, and trudged toward the door. Part of me screamed to turn back. There was another stop a few miles up, Tabneta probably, but my legs kept moving. I told myself I'd just check it out. Maybe there'd be something left behind, a stale soda or a candy bar. Anything to keep me going. The door swung open with a creak that cut through the silence, and I stepped into a void. Pitch black, cold, and dead. My flashlight beam bounced off dusty shelves, all bare, like the place had been picked clean years ago. I cursed under my breath. Stupid idea, coming in here. But then in the corner, a faint glow caught my eye. A refrigerator, plugged in, humming faintly against the wall. Hope flickered in my chest. I shuffled over, each step echoing louder than the last, and yanked the door open. Nothing. Not a damn thing. The shelves were gone, gutted, leaving an empty shell staring back at me. My hope snuffed out, replaced by a slow, creeping unease. I shut the door, harder than I meant to, and froze. A clatter, sharp, sudden, rang out from the main room. My heart jumped. Had I knocked something over? Was it the wind? I stood there, breath caught in my throat, straining to hear it again. 10 seconds ticked by, then 20. Nothing. My mind raced. Tiredness playing tricks. That's all it was. But the unease grew roots, digging into me. I wasn't alone in here. I couldn't see it, couldn't prove it, but I felt it. I shook it off, or tried to, and headed for the door. No time for ghost stories. I needed to move. I jogged to the next stop up the road, a real one this time, with flickering lights and a clerk who didn't look up from his phone. I grabbed a Red Bull, paid, and hustled back to the truck, the can cold against my palm. But as I climbed in, something felt off. Wrong. I glanced back at the abandoned store. Its door was open now, wide open, swaying slightly. I'd shut it. I know I'd shut it. My pulse ticked up. Maybe the wind. Maybe my memory screwing with me. I didn't stick around to figure it out. I turned the key, the engine roaring to life, and peeled back onto the highway. The caffeine kicked in fast, jolting me out of that tired haze. I told myself I was fine, that it was nothing. But my eyes kept darting to the rearview mirror, half expecting something to be staring back. The road stretched ahead, endless and black, but now it didn't feel empty. It felt alive, watching me. The buzz from the drink kept me sharp for a while, but my mind wouldn't settle. I kept replaying that stop, the glow, the clatter, the door. Then I noticed it. The curtain behind me, the one separating the cab from the sleeper, was moving. Not much, just a flutter, like a breath pushing it. I hadn't turned the air on. The windows were up. My mouth went dry. I glanced in the mirror. Nothing but shadows back there. Sweat beaded on my forehead, dripping slow and cold. I told myself it was the truck's vibration, some loose fabric catching the hum. But it kept moving, slow and steady, like something was brushing against it. I gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles white. Someone was in here with me. I knew it in my gut. No weapon, no plan, just me and this creeping dread. My free hand fumbled for my phone, punching in the nearest police station's address. 20 minutes away. 20 minutes of hell. Every second, I pictured a hand reaching out, a blade glinting, my truck swerving off into the ditch. I didn't dare look back. Those 20 minutes stretched into forever. My heart hammered so loud I could barely hear the engine. When I finally rolled up to the station, I parked crooked, tires screeching, and bolted out, yelling for help. Cops swarmed the truck, flashlights cutting through the dark. I stood there, shaking, as they yanked open the back. 3 of them, 3 ragged figures, spilled out like rats from a trap. 2 men, 1 woman, draped in filthy blankets, eyes hollow but sharp. 1 guy clutched 2 switchblades, the metal glinting under the lights as they cuffed him. They didn't say a word, just stared at me, their gazes drilling holes into my skull. I stumbled back, legs weak. Who were they? How'd they get in? My mind spun. Had they climbed in at that damn stop? Were they waiting for me to pass out, to slit my throat, to take the truck? The cops hauled them off, but those eyes stayed with me, burning into my memory. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my voice was gone. I climbed back into the cab, hands trembling as I gripped the wheel. The cops told me to go, said they'd handle it, but I barely heard them. I drove off, the road blurring through tears I didn't know I'd shed. The Red Bull sat unopened on the seat beside me. Didn't need it anymore. Fear had seared me awake. My mind wouldn't stop. Those blades, those stares, the what-ifs. What if I hadn't stopped? What if I'd fallen asleep? What if they'd moved faster? I finished the run, delivered the load, but it didn't feel like a win. It felt like survival. Months later, I still drive. Got a lock for the back now, a knife under the seat. But every time the curtain twitches, every time I stop at some lonely spot, I see them. Those eyes, waiting in the dark. I don't know what they wanted, and maybe I never will. But I know this. The road's not freedom anymore. It's a cage, and I'm never alone in it. You have experienced a different life, a phenomenon that you cannot explain. Why? If so, share your story in the comments section below, because someone out there has also experienced the same thing. Don't be afraid to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because the next story could be even more interesting. Share your story. It was past midnight, the clock on my dashboard glowing a harsh green, 12:17 a.m. I'd just finished a brutal night shift at the pharmacy, the kind where every customer's glare feels personal, and the fluorescent lights drill into your skull. My hands gripped the wheel of my old hatchback, knuckles pale from exhaustion. The highway stretched out ahead, a black ribbon cutting through nowhere. No streetlights, no other cars, just me and the hum of the engine. Out here, in rural America, the nights are quiet, too quiet sometimes. Deer are the real danger. They wander onto the road like ghosts, and by the time you see them, it's too late. That's why I kept it slow, never over 50, my tired eyes flicking to the shadows beyond the headlights. I just wanted to get home, collapse into bed, and forget the day. But something about that night felt off. Maybe it was the stillness, heavier than usual, or the way my chest tightened for no reason. I told myself it was just fatigue playing tricks. The road curved left, and that's when I saw it, a row of reflective lights glinting on the horizon. Traffic cones lined up neat and orderly, their orange tape catching my headlights like tiny beacons. Beyond them, a faint blue flash pulsed slow and steady. I squinted, trying to make sense of it. A safety vest flickered into view, worn by someone standing in the middle of the lane. My foot eased off the gas. Construction? An accident? Out here at this hour? My brain scrambled for answers, but none fit. I didn't slam the brakes, not yet. Just let the car coast, the tires humming softer now. That tight feeling in my chest grew, a quiet alarm I couldn't name. Who does road work at midnight? I muttered to myself, half joking, half worried. I should have stopped sooner, but curiosity, or maybe stupidity, kept me rolling forward. The car screeched to a halt, tires biting the asphalt as I finally hit the brakes hard. Too close. I'd almost missed it. The figure in the vest stepped forward, arms waving lazily, like he didn't care if I saw him or not. My headlights caught him. Tall, skinny, maybe 6 feet, wearing what looked like a police uniform under the vest. He knocked on my window with his knuckle, a sharp little tap that made me flinch. I rolled it down, the cold night air rushing in, and got a better look. Young guy, mid-20s maybe, slight stubble, an earring glinting in his left ear. His voice came out low, flat, nothing like the cops I'd met before. "License and registration, please," he said, barely loud enough to hear. My stomach churned. Did I do something wrong? I asked, my voice tighter than I meant it to be. I hadn't been speeding. Hell, I'd been crawling. He paused, eyes flicking to the side, then back to me. "Sir, this is a sobriety checkpoint." I blinked. A checkpoint? Here? Alone? Doubt crept in, cold and sharp, but I fumbled for my wallet anyway. He straightened up, stepping back from the car. "Step out for the test," he said, still in that dead tone. My hand hesitated on the door handle. Something wasn't right. His voice, his stance, the way he didn't explain anything. But what choice did I have? I pushed the door open and climbed out, the gravel crunching under my sneakers. He towered over me, his shadow stretching long in the headlights. From his vest pocket, he pulled a roll of tape, peeling it out across the road, 15 feet, maybe more. "Step on the end," he said. "Arms out, walk straight." I did it, easy, my balance steady despite the nerves. He stayed right behind me, too close, his shoes scuffing the pavement with every step. I could feel him there, a presence pressing into my space, and my skin prickled. At the end of the tape, I turned my head slightly. That blue light, it wasn't on a police cruiser. It sat on some beat-up sedan, old and out of place. My heart stuttered. This wasn't a checkpoint. "Show me your badge," I said, my voice cracking but firm. He froze, just stood there, staring at me with eyes that didn't blink. Empty eyes, like he wasn't all there. My pulse hammered in my ears. I'd seen cops before, gruff, commanding, even friendly sometimes. This guy? He wasn't one. He mumbled something, too soft to catch, then turned toward his car, bending down like he was reaching for something. That's when it hit me. Full-on, gut-punching clarity. He wasn't getting a badge, he was stalling. Or worse. My legs moved before my brain caught up, sprinting back to my car. I slammed the door, keys shaking in my hand as I turned the ignition. I glanced up. He was standing again, raising something, a gun. My foot smashed the pedal, the car lurching forward, tires screaming as I plowed through the cones. The cones cracked and scattered under my wheels, orange plastic flying like broken bones. A gunshot rang out, sharp, deafening, splitting the night. I ducked instinctively, my head slamming against the steering wheel, but I didn't stop. The engine roared as I pushed it past 60, the highway blurring around me. In the rearview mirror, headlights flared to life, his sedan coming alive like some predator waking up. My hands shook so bad I could barely steer, sweat stinging my eyes. "He's chasing me," I thought, over and over, a loop of pure terror. I didn't know who he was, a thief, a psycho, something worse, but I knew I couldn't let him catch me. I took the next exit, tires squealing, and floored it toward the nearest town. Streetlights finally flickered into view, weak and yellow. I killed my headlights, praying he'd lose me in the glow. My breath came in gasps, chest heaving as I tore through quiet streets, glancing back every second. I don't know how I made it home. The last stretch is a haze, my hands locked on the wheel, my mind replaying that blank stare, that gun. I pulled into my driveway, cut the engine, and just sat there, trembling in the dark. No more headlights behind me, no blue flash, nothing. Hours passed before I could move, my legs like lead as I stumbled inside and locked every door. Sleep didn't come that night, or the next. Every creak of the house, every shadow outside, sent my heart racing again. Who was he? Some drifter pretending to be a cop? Someone out for blood? I'll never know. I didn't have a dash cam, no proof, nothing to show the world what happened. It's been months now, and I still avoid that highway. Sometimes, late at night, I catch myself staring out the window, half expecting to see that blue light flickering in the distance. I got away, sure, but out there on that empty road, I learned something. The dark doesn't care who you are. It's always waiting, and sometimes it's not alone.